Hey there, welcome back to some Elden Ring. We're going to do a couple random dungeons here in the old Altus Plateau area that we're currently at any rate, right? So we've got a little path up here. We saw there was a cave. We didn't go into it, and we can see that there's a Altus tunnel here that we didn't go into either. So we're going to knock out those two things and see if they've got anything interesting to show us. And depending on how quick it is, we'll roll something else into it. Alright, so outside of this cave, you can see there is a Miranda flower. The coloration and stuff on this one is a little different than some of the others I've seen. A lot of them are pretty, like, the petals and stuff are red, I think. This one is very yellow, which is maybe not super surprising, given that, the proximity to the Erd tree and stuff. It's supposed to be that golden coloration that's going on here. I like that type of thing. We're just going to keep creating some space every time it does that. I've got shield crash in here. I'll put some cold enchantment on our shield, which is not a normal thing. And, it's not really in theme with what I'm doing, but at the same time, it is a really good burst amount of damage with the bleed and frost. Poison Bloom Miranda powder. So let's go on in. And this is the Perfumer's Grotto. Alright, now we know the perfumers were kind of like, I would call them physicians, I think it said, right? Physicians before, and they had closely guarded secrets. And then with the shattering and the spread of warfare, these closely guarded secrets became more widespread, and they didn't used to do, they did like healing concoctions and stuff. But then with the war, they kind of pivoted a little bit, adding in like the fire, like you see the fire perfume that the soldiers use, that the depraved perfumers are using, right? And it became more widespread. Now, interesting thing to kind of remember too is there is a perfumer's traveling garb. The badge of perfumer is replaced by a more simple one made from soft leather. It's given to a perfumer with no renown. Now this one, the hat, an associate of a healer. He's said to be in search of new aromatics and flower gardens in hopes of treating misbegotten, omen, and all those seen as impure. So see how these like traditional like perfumers were maybe seen as like healers. They were, looking for positive and helping, right? And there's one there, which we have not actually seen an actual perfumer. We've only seen the depraved ones. So there's a cloth headdress and a cloak of some kind. You can see there's probably the apron in the front like it describes. That dagger thing he's got is going to be an Erd tree dagger, or Erd steel dagger, which is like actually made out of wood, but given to those of the Erd tree faithful. We got one from Kenneth Height. I don't have it in my inventory right now. And you can see it's hanging out with, there's another one down there, chilling with a Miranda flower. Because I guess, they don't mind each other. Look, his eyes are pretty yellow, grayish skin. And his hands, see, perfumer bottles. There's that heavy fabric apron. Yeah, and I mean, they're very different. Like, they look clean and well kept, as opposed to, the depraved ones. The depraved ones, they got this fur cloak thing going on. They just look kind of ragged, right? Which makes sense. They haven't been able to really cast anything at me. I think he's through like a fire aromatic, right? Yep. So even they've had to like adapt, even though they would be traditional like healers. They've had to like change their use of stuff. And look, we actually got a hood, so let's take a look. I do like the hood. I think it's kind of cool. Hood of the Erd Tree capital perfumer. In times past, the role of perfumer was much respected, a blessed apothecary in the eyes of many. But after entering the battlefields of the Shattering, they performed no such role, trading their aromatics for poisons and explosives. And it was like some of those that were like good for uplifting their allies, which is what made them good battlefield commanders. Lots of baiting coveting. So this grotto, I wonder if this is like where they would have gotten a lot of their like herbs and things, especially if you got like a Miranda flower. They have these Miranda, the Miranda like bloom, what was it, pollen. There's also the poison bloom, poison pollen and stuff. So like, if they need these things in order to perform their different like aromatics or craft them, it would make sense that they would kind of cultivate some kind of relationship or cultivate these things. And especially, I mean, perfumer things are going to have gardens of some kind. Maybe I can stagger it. There we go. Like, it's interesting purple-yellow modeling. I'm sure there's like an actual flower that's kind of like based on, right? Yeah, poison bloom, Miranda powder, that's what it was. All right, so there's another passage over here. Lots of storage things. You know what'd be kind of cool is if I could like hit those things and like light them up so it would like stay lit. That'd be kind of cool. Another Miranda bloom. We need to craft some more fire pots because fire's good against them. Down there is a chest. More blooms. There's a perfumer. Alrighty. Oh, there's a bunch of little flowers. Let's get rid of him. So he was doing a thing that was going to like kind of swirl around. That was one of those like things that are going to uplift allies. It would kind of shield them. And that can be pretty obnoxious to deal with, actually. Living jar shard. Interesting. Wonder if you need the living jar shard for some of the things that they make. I'm also still curious, like most of the perfumer cookbooks that we've gotten so far are depraved ones, so I would like to find one that's like not a depraved perfumer cookbook, right? Left by depraved, acid, and poison blood boil. Which I have the acid one on my bar to use. Ooh, and look at that. Now we've seen this type of thing before, way back under in Einsel River. It was hanging out guarding one of the ancient ruins there. This one is a lot closer to the surface, though, right? And look how, like, it hasn't noticed this yet, but look at the, like, almost, like, clear glass. Like, it reminds me of, like, marbles, like beady marbles going up. It's got a clasped hand on there. Why do I feel like things are crawling on me? Bunch of the arms, actually, like, 6 of them. And look how many fingers they've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers on it, right? There's maybe some significance behind that, right? Given that you have the 2 fingers being, 2 fingers, and then the what's like the beasts having like 5 fingers, or the 5th finger is significant of intelligence, and so it is the 6th finger, like meaning 3 fingers is unlucky with the the maddening flame and stuff. So interesting. We're gonna hit him with a fire pot. Oh, look across there. There's a whole other passage over there. So let's go ahead and throw. Oh, lordy, that missed it entirely. Oh, look at that. There's that purple gravity magic again. Wings, but it's interesting that he can't actually fly. Like, he's hanging, right? Like, he's attached in there and still, like, I don't know. Maybe it's still, like, growing. But look at, he's got, like, that human face, big mandible things. And then if you look on his forehead, look at that, a rotating, like, eye thing. And now, you know what it reminds me of? Is way back in the old Caelid, when we were way up, kind of north of the Aeonian swamp somewhere around in here, I think, maybe, or maybe it was, like, right along here, actually. There were dragonfly dudes, like, flying around, bugging me a lot, right? They have big pinching mandibles like this thing does, and I noticed some of them, it almost looked like they had some big eye thing growing on their forehead. So there is a bit similar there, and this thing does have some very insect-like appearances to it. Where is my giant crossbow? Considering I haven't upgraded this thing at all, it's not too bad for damage, I guess. Arteria leaf, ×3. A bunch of stuff over there. Here we go. Let's go ahead and use our flask, actually. And then, yeah, let's go. Let's see what we got. Ooh, a flower and Omen Killer. Miranda the Blighted Bloom. Oh, so it's not even like a Miranda flower. It's specifically Miranda the Blighted Bloom. Blighted meaning, like, sick, right? Like, it's blighted. Wonder why. Like, how did it become blighted? What was the deal here? That's something I wonder, right? Gonna poke this guy. Can't really see him in this mist, but that lowers his attack power, which is nice. The shield. No, we don't have the stamina for it. I was gonna try and shield crash him, right? But now we will. Gotcha, asshole. Uh-oh. See, look at what that Omen Killer's wearing, though. See how he had like an apron look to it? Alright, interesting. And what do we find him in? In a perfumer's grotto. Now, the depraved perfumers, what did it say they were doing? They were like imbibing in their spices to like alter body and mind. Now we got this like Miranda Blighted Bloom. So how is it like blighted? You know, it might be simply because it's somehow like sick in some way, or maybe like it was like something done with like the perfumers to like Maybe craft something? Like, I don't know. Great Omen Killer Cleaver. Alright. So a blade of this huge, loathsome cleaver is comprised of rows of amputated omen horns, weapon of slaughter wielded by omen killers. The hideous horns cause blood loss, adding vibrant colors to the ongoing mayhem. Yep. Sounds about right, huh? Alright, so now we'll go to the Altus Plateau, or Altus Tunnel, right? Now, notice how these two are kind of meeting in the middle. There wasn't anywhere else for us to go, but we saw there were some other, like, paths of some sort, like layers or, like, tunnels, sections. So now we can go in here, and we'll see what kind of shows up, right? And this is more of your traditional, like, mine, right? We saw that symbol on the map. Here you can see the structures around that is, like, you know, for the mine. And there's even the miners, right? The stone miners. So it is definitely like... I don't like that. You know what? Screw you. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, yeah, we're in a mine now. Just adjacent to a perfumer grotto. It's interesting there, too, that the there was a marionette thing. Which, you know, is not a... like, why would that be in here? Because those are, like, servants of sorcerers. And look at these guys. Like, what kind of... Like... I mean, the miners in general, I think they always do that. That's like their thing. But they typically use some kind of rock that's like associated with, I guess, who they're associated with and the mine that they're in. And these things have magic ones, which is interesting considering we're not really close to Grey Lucaria at all, or the Academy, or Caria, anything like that. But I guess you could potentially find that kind of stuff anywhere, right? I'm going to attempt to leave as many of them alone as possible. Then when you take their rocks, they don't like it. Oh, there's lots of marionette dudes. Yeah. Hey. Oop. Materia leaf, amazing. Hey, give me his item, though. Digger's staff. Oh, that's cool. I didn't actually remember that you could get that. That's kind of cool. I wonder what it'll tell us. It might not tell us anything super... mind-blowing, right? But it could be interesting. Also like that the thorns on this armor, which deal damage when you roll into guys, do enough to stagger those little marionette flyers. That's kind of fun. It's typically, I guess I shouldn't be surprised really, because it is normally enough to stagger a lot of like light armored guys. Alright, let's get into a safe spot, and then I can read that thing. Now look where we are, the opposite side of that cavern. That's where the thing was hanging down. And then here are these, like, other, like, stone crystal snake things. Arsenal Charm +1. That's cool. Wonder if it has anything different to say than its normal, the previous one. Right, derived from an unusual greatsword once wielded by a hero hungry for vengeance. Right, that's our grafted greatsword. Same thing, I guess, yeah. Cool. Now we check out the Digger's Staff. Right. There it is. Staff of a sorcerer miner who extracts glintstone from crystal tunnels. The staff itself is a tool used to mine, and the ferrule is also embedded with a glintstone, boosts the power of their sorceries. It's kind of interesting looking, right? But they're sorcerers who are miners. So like, were they? I wonder if they were just like, were they miners first who then like kind of dabbled into sorcery a little bit, or were they sorcerers who maybe had like some lack of skill or something, or assigned to the mines and they're like, hey, congratulations, you're gonna go work here now. All right. Oh, we can actually see what's on the other side. They are crystallians. All right, here we go. I don't know that this Bloody Helix is actually like the play here, but it's what I'm gonna keep using. I don't actually have enough to summon my bird either, so hopefully this will be okay. We can use Shield Crash to really bust into one of them. That dude is a ring blade, and that dude is a spear. Now look in the center there, how there's that big golden meteorite. Like, that just seems to be what these things are always, like, where these mines are always, like, focused in around, are these, like, big meteorite things. And we see, like, little ones in certain areas, and then the other ones the other thing we find around a lot of those are the star callers. Wow. That have stuff to do with gravity magic and, like, I guess whatever, like looking for meteorites. Now, something I just kind of crossed my mind is the idea that I like that he did like nothing that entire fight. These star callers would probably be like pretty, like they would have been pretty against Radon. Radon would have been against them, right? Because he stopped the stars from falling, right? So, yeah. Oh, just an interesting thought I had, I guess. Cool design on these guys. There's some interesting stuff about where the origin of their actual design, what he got inspiration from and stuff. But what do we get? Somber Stone Miner's Bell Bearing. There we go. It's like a thing. Look at these little fragments of like golden thing. I think, are these like little bits of like what they would use to make smithing stones? Or is there some other greater purpose you could use these things for? And now you see them in the Divine Towers, right? So like they're in the Divine Towers, which implies their significance. And, you know, that they come around here. And I mean, it's a meteorite, right? It's a rock. It's got little glowing bits of gold in it. It's super cool. We could probably do one more dungeon depending on what's around. Well, we'll go right here. We'll check out this section. That's pretty much like a dungeon, right? There's part of me that kind of wishes I'd done a different spot first before we go into that area, but this is just the way the, you know, cards have kind of played out and stuff. But look there. Look at all these glowing purple spots in the ground. We've seen the same thing down on the Weeping Peninsula. And what do we find? These Starcaller guys. And it's like they're being supervised by the Lanedale soldiers. They're being made to mine out bits of meteorite and see golden chunks. But it's so interesting to me that, right, it's this golden rock thing, but look how it's got this purple glow to it. It's really neat to me that, you know, you have what you would think is like one aspect of like magic or something, right? The grace of gold and incantation stuff, and yet there's some kind of gravitational magic to it. So maybe there's, you know, the lines between Owie. Wow, that's kind of cool. Oh, look how it turned into a big old rocky mace. He just attached rock to it. But it's interesting because it's like the lines between these different types of magic and things are maybe not as like rigid as you might think they are. You know, they're a little more blurred, like because they all maybe come from the same source, right? Because if you've got this gold coming from this golden meteorites, but that's also the source of gravity magic, you know, maybe they all share a common origin. I mean, Selen even says something not quite in the same line, and I can't remember the exact line, so I'm not going to say it correctly, but she talks about how, you know, you got the amber. Amber is like the residue of primordial life, and then glintstone is the what'd she say, the life of stars, you know, the like inactive life, star hibernating, whatever, right? The amber of the stars. So yeah, I mean, there seems to be some kind of connection between the two, right? And there's one way up there, but look at that huge purple glow of that one. That one's like huge. You know, it's significant. And what's also interesting too, right? Another thing, since I'm looking at it, right? That dude there, look at his pose. He's got like a T-pose thing. Now we see this also with some of the Golden Order things. Yeah, but you see it with the Golden Order things, with some of the spells, like they have a person in the background that is doing a similar style pose, but it's right like this one right here. Look, just like that, but it's an image of order. And what is order? Like, it has to do with the Golden Order, the Elden Ring, and the Erd Tree and stuff. Whereas these guys, like, I don't think they have anything to do with it, right? Because we get those gravity stone chunks and whatnot. Like, we didn't have one of these before. A shard of rock found in the wake of a meteorite strike, imbued with particularly weighty magic, like gravity magic, right? Throw at enemies, using FP, does a gravitational explosion. The desperate ones who scavenge for these shards dub themselves Starcallers. Yeah. And the effects of them are very similar to the Ruin's Greatsword. When that one hits, it does a big line effect that's just like those. So what are we going to find up here, right? We got a summon sign. Let's pull in our bird because we can, right? Here we go. Get rid of these guys. Chunk. Look, it's a gravity thing, just like we see an Onyx Lord. So it's probably like an Onyx Lord, right? Except it's not. A falling star beast. Look at the big pincery jaws. It's like a, you know, it's reminiscent of that thing we just saw in that tunnel. And, you know, it is close to us, too. But this thing is not, other than that, it's not really similar, right? It's a beast. And it's got, you know, it's like 4 legs, black onyx stone body. The other one is very much like insect-like, right? With wings, multiple arms and stuff. It even had like a human face with a single eye. This one does not have that kind of, like, theme going on. But there is a connection I would like to kind of draw here that I hadn't really thought of until somewhat recently. But when we're down in the like underground ancient ruins and stuff, one of the things we see, this is going to be bad. Maybe we'll be okay. One of the things we see are these tablets, and what's on there is a bull. Now, you don't really see any bulls in the game. Like, where is there a bull, right? I'm not seeing any, right? But now you got this thing, which kind of moves around. Look at it, it's got hooved feet and whatnot, like a bull, except it doesn't have any kind of, like, horns. It's got big pincer things to it. It's like a weird facsimile to it, or, like, mockery image of it. Yeah, I mean, it's still very insect-like. Oh, I'm messing up the rules. But it is doing gravity magic, which makes sense because it is, you know, a falling star beast. It's in these meteorite things, right? Now, there's some other interesting implications with it, and that it's like a falling star beast. We found it in the wake of some kind of meteorite strike, right? Ooh, I didn't think that was actually gravity. But what was Radon doing? There's an eyelash in my eyeball. Radon held back the stars, the falling stars that, like, threatened Celia or the land, something, right? And why would he have done it? To stop things like this, right? Would be an implication if there is life that falls from them. And we have another item that was implying as much, right? That there is life from these falling stars, or from falling stars and meteorites, and that's from the meteoric blade. A weighty blade, particularly weighty blade made from a meteorite thing, and due to that, it is particularly effective at dealing with those, like, life born from, like, falling stars, right? So yeah, maybe that was a whole, like, something like this is a whole reason Radon was like halted the stars, is because there was things like this coming out. Oh, bummer. We're gonna do this. Oh, you got me. That's unfortunate. Heal quickly. Then I'm gonna roll it. Oh, God damn it, dude. I cannot get the timing right on those. I got one flask left. He's still got a good amount of health left. Missed him. That sucks. Oh, come on. Oh my God, I'm still alive. Heal, quick. Alright, shields is not doing me favors, I don't think. Almost got him. Huh. Oh, I missed! Are you serious? One more. Yes, thank you. What do we get, though? Enemy felled. Good amount of shards. Lots of smithing stones. All kinds of smithing stones. Gravity stone chunk, gravity stone chunk. And look how when you get here, there's not really a big old meteor shard. Like, I guess it is maybe this right here, speckled in there, and it's just not excavated. There is like a small chunk kind of showing, but he did come through like a little gravity portal, which was a lot like those, you know, the Onyx and Alabaster Lords we find. And they do use gravitational magic. So are they also life forms born from like falling stars? It is some cool stuff. And it's interesting that there's, you know, we have this one right here, and then this other weird thing that's doing gravity magic, same pincery look to it, right up in here, you know? So I guess it's not surprising that you would find one kind of near the other, I suppose. It's neat. I think we might have to go back to Caelid and do some stuff there now after doing this. But thank you guys for checking it out. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed it. There's some interesting things that you can kind of draw out of some of the dungeons and stuff that we did here. But really, until the next one, take care.